Merry Christmas, everybody.
No. It is not Christmas time. It is the middle of February. You were supposed to review this a month ago. What happened?
Well, Paul John didn't even send me the thing.
That is a terrible excuse. I don't even want to hear it. You know what? Why don't you just review the whiskey? You do your little nosing and your tasting. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to sit on the couch with your wife and watch your TV. Merry Christmas.
That doesn't sound like a very Merry Christmas. Let's get into it. Hello everybody and welcome to the Whiskey Dictionary, where I do the research to try to teach you a little something about what you're drinking. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Paul John Christmas Edition 2020. Now this is a yearly release that's been coming out since 2018, and even in that year 2018 it was a very highly regarded whiskey. So they continue to do it. Now they try to match a specific flavor profile that would remind you of the Christmas season. So think spices, think, maybe like apples or so. Just things that make you think happy thoughts, maybe warm, inviting, and just comfy food, right? So that's what they're going for. But here's the problem. I can't find it in my area. I live up in Massachusetts, so a lot of times it's hard to find bottles up here. And I reached out to Paul John and I just said, hey guys, I've got a couple of fans who have requested that I review this. So could you send me a bottle? Now they were nice enough to do so, but I like to tell you guys when I get free bottles. So full disclosure, free bottle. All right, let's talk a little bit about some of the metrics around this guy. Now this is 46% ABV. It's matured in ex-Bourbon, Oloroso and Virgin oak casks. It's non-chill filtered and non-colored. So it's kind of everything you'd want. I personally really like 46%. I like really high ABV whiskeys, but if I'm going lower, I think 46 is a great number to be. A lot of the reason for that is I feel like 43, or even if you want to just go 41 just to be different, I feel like those can be really good. And obviously this is generalities, but I think 46 shows just going a little bit further. You're not trying to dilute it to the point where you're trying to make a buck is where 46 feels like to me. 43 to an extent feels like that, but 46 really does. Anyway, I've gone on too long about this. Anyway, let's go ahead and pour some of this and get some nosing and tasting. Now they do make a red and a green version of this. It's the exact same whiskey. And I did ask for both, just because I wanted to have both. But, I'm still happy with the one. Anyway, all right, so let's go ahead and give this a nose. Now, one thing I love is when the bottle's like a foot away from yourself, and when you open it, you just immediately can smell it. That is something, it kind of makes you ready to drink whiskey. It's almost like walking in your house and smelling bacon, right? You're just, Will, Sarah, Matt, you guys, I know you're salivating here. So this is just, it like gets you ready, right? It makes you excited to drink your whiskey. Anyway. This is what this is doing to me. It smells from this far away like oranges and like spices. So I'm interested to see kind of what more it gets up close. It smells like two things combined. Picture an orange covered in honey, and then that's one thing. And then picture those chocolate oranges that you smash them down on the table and then they break apart. Hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. There's a combination of those two items that is prevalent in the nose here. But there is also this baking spice is kind of the generic way to put it, but I would say more nutmeg in this case. It's coming across like all of those things for me very heavily in the nose. Almost didn't have to try to pick those out. All right, cheers guys. I have to say, Indian whiskey is what's the word? It's really sad that it's not way more popular. People that try Indian whiskey, I think, will really grow to love it. And if you haven't tried it, it's time. If you're a Scotch drinker and you haven't tried Indian whiskey, you should try it. All right. Actually, even if you're a bourbon drinker, if you've never really gotten into Scotch, this could be a bit of a stepping stone. There's a lot of heavier notes in Indian whiskey that you would typically like in a bourbon, rather than some of the lighter, airier, fruity notes that you get in a Scotch. It's kind of the bridge between the two. Anyway, from the taste, maybe I'll shut up and have another sip. So, I kind of switched that one around a little bit more. Don't mind the weird faces this time. So, what I'm tasting here is, again, chocolate and oranges. But in this case, it's a very well-balanced kind of milk chocolate flavor that I'm getting. But the orange is so heavy in this, like it can't be ignored. It's to me, it's at the forefront of every other nuance that I'm picking. It's kind of like chocolate with oranges, like nutmeg with oranges, some honey with oranges. So it's very orangey. And that's coming from the specific place that this is made in Goa. And Goa is kind of just, a lot of it kind of creates this tropical feeling. So oranges, yeah, I mean, I guess you could say a little bit. It's more just southern. But there's pineapple in here for me too. And that's obviously a tropical fruit. So let's talk about this whiskey. This is an $80 whiskey. This is kind of the overall, right? So this is an $80 whiskey. And a lot of Indian whiskeys are in that range. You know, they're going to be between $60 and $80. So this is at the top end of that. Now here's the thing. It's a limited edition, so you have to consider that there's some amount of percent that's always going to be tacked on to any limited edition just because it is such. So let's just knock like 10% off. Let's call this a $70 whiskey and kind of compare what this would be. Now if we compare this to the Paul John Classic, which is the green bottle, this stands up, but I'm not sure that it's better than that. And here's the thing. I think if you've tried the green bottle, you're going to love this. I think if you haven't, you should go try that first, because it's a little bit cheaper. And then if you like it, and you can still get your hands on this, you should. If you like any other Indian whiskey and are looking for something that's along the same lines, but with a little bit of variety that you might not have tried before, this guy's a good one. The mix of the sherry, along with kind of those ex-Bourbon barrels, it shows. You can tell. You know, the fruitiness that I'm tasting is from the sherry for sure, but the heaviness that you're tasting is from the bourbon. So this is a really good whiskey in my mind. I really like this one a lot, and I'm very eager to drink the rest of it, but I'm also like the rest of you guys. I don't like to finish bottles, especially limited edition ones, so you're probably going to see this on my shelf for a while. But I suspect it's going to very, subtly decline in the bottle for a while. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me here on the Whiskey Dictionary, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. Cheers.